Hey everyone, it's Cledra, so let me know if you're out there. We're about to start playing one of my favorite songs on my morning playlist. I'm moving forward. The past is over. So let me know if you're out there. Hey Danny boy, welcome. Let me know where you guys are coming in from. LA honey. We're about to get started. Austin, Texas. Hey, I'm in Atlanta. It's great to see you. Tonight I'm going to be talking about how to choose to lose weight. So if 2016 is the year that you have decided that it's time to have that amazing body and overall wellness, then tonight is for you. So I am so excited. We have 4 days until 2015. So, all right, let's get started here. Give me some hearts, some love, and let me know that you are excited. Hey, who is that sunshine on a rainy day? So, welcome, welcome, welcome. So, let me turn the music off so we can get started. Turn this off. All right, so hey everyone, I am so excited that you have decided to join me on Periscope tonight. I see people are still coming in. Dan, so I know we have Texas. I'm here in Atlanta. It is pouring down rain here. So I don't know what the weather's like where you guys are, but I tell you what, it is sunny on the inside for me. So I just wanted to start a series that I have titled How to Choose. And just a little bit of background. So my company is Plan B Coaching, but this year, well, this upcoming year, I'll be doing what's called lifestyle engineering. I'm actually trained as a chemical engineer, and what I learned very early on is that while I love engineering, I prefer to do it with people than equipment. So lifestyle engineering is all about taking your entire life and re-engineering it so that you can live the life that God has purposed for you. So tonight we are talking about how to choose to lose weight. And you see back behind me, I have the plan that works. So I'll be revealing that in a little bit. The plan that I know works. And how do I know? I have spent over 25 years in this weight loss journey, and I have joined everything known to man to try to lose weight. Including 5 years ago, I had lap band surgery, but I've since had that removed, so I no longer have weight loss surgery. But anyway, so there are 3 components when it comes to dropping weight: working within, working through, and then the third one that's so popular is working out. And why do I say that? I say that because, you know, at the end of the day, when I'm working with my clients, I have yet to meet a client who doesn't know when she's at that restaurant eating the bread or the desserts or having that drink that she shouldn't be having it. I mean, you guys talk to me. Tell me, is it really a knowing problem that you don't know what to eat? Really, it's a problem of doing what you know. And to do what you know consistently requires emotional mastery. I see the hearts that you guys have. So what I believe is that the popular marketing out there has chopped us up as women into body parts to make us feel like we always have to be working on the size of a body part. If you've ever noticed the women's magazines, they're always, 30 days to slim down your thighs, lift your glutes, tighten your arms, chopping us up into body parts. And I am really declaring a movement that we have to be addressed holistically, all of us. And so that's why the whole work within, everything I do, first of all, is grounded in God's word, God's will, and God's way. And so with that being said, you have to work within. Otherwise, you get into what I call symptom management. So an analogy that I like to use, that if you were driving your car and a light popped on the dash, the light is coming on because of an effect. The light is an effect of something that's happening in the engine, the operating, the way the car is operating. You wouldn't go and say, I need a new light. And the weight, that's analogous to the physical weight that we can see. It's an effect of something that we can't see. It's the light, so to speak, coming on, letting us know that something's wrong with the engine. Something's wrong with the way we're operating, and primarily with the way we're thinking. And so when I talk about working within, it's about the weight you can't see. If you think about the last time you may have overeaten or binged, chances are, well, we just had some holidays if you're watching me from the States, or depending on where you are in your belief system. But anyway, it is most likely when you overeat, it's because you're caught up in a moment of celebration, and sometimes it's a moment of sadness. But the point is, a lot of the times it is emotionally charged. It's not because you're not aware that you shouldn't have that third slice or fourth slice or whatever of pizza or a cake or what have you. It's because in that moment there is an emotion that has triggered that light to come on. And so the effect is that you overeat, and then the subsequent effect to that is the physical weight. But the root of it is not the weight. The weight is a symptom. Okay? The weight is a symptom. So working within deals with your spirit and strengthening your spirit by praying, fasting, and meditating. That's very important. Very important. And working through is all about the soul. The soul is made up of the mind, will, and emotions. And the way I work with people doing that is using the armor of God. So the mind and will and emotions, if you listen to secular marketing, they would have us believe that if we wanted it bad enough, then we would drop the weight. Or if we had the willpower and the discipline, we would drop the weight. And as long as we're trying to do things within our own strength and our own power, we will always fail. This world tries to convince us that I, the first person singular pronoun, should dominate, when really I die daily is the way the believer has to live in order to have a victorious life as defined by the Word of God. And so when you are in symptom management, you're trying to manage your calories, you're trying to manage your workouts, you're trying to manage your discipline, and you see people packing food in all the Tupperware containers on Facebook and doing all of this stuff where it is symptom management. Because what I know is that with every single program, the long-term results are dismal. They're not good with any program, okay? And I don't like to bash any program because I'm so passionate about this area, because what I know is that because the marketing has been so successful, we as women unfortunately have spent a lot of time, energy, and money focused on managing our body as opposed to managing our emotions and our mind and looking at what's really going on and why are we trying to eat in place of what we really need to have in our life. Alnita saying so true. Hey, Alnita, good to see you. And so that's why I want to reveal, I don't want to hold the suspense anymore, and I want to reveal to you the plan, the weight loss plan that really, really works. I love the emoticons. Thank you. So I'm going to reveal this to you guys. Let me show you. The plan that really works, all of them, all of them, all of them, they all work. But it depends on how you define work. In terms of losing weight, do they all work? Yes. Yes, if you do what any plan out there prescribes, you will lose weight. However, you will not lose the root cause of the weight, because one thing that I know from all of these programs is that they don't spend a significant enough time on what's really going on with you. Now, I'm talking to people who have a lot of weight to lose. My weight loss was over 65 pounds. And since my dad's passing, I've had the largest fluctuation that I've had probably in about 6 years. So you're seeing me probably heavier than I've been in about 6 years. But I'll show you, in case you guys don't know my journey, this is where I started. So it's like a size 22. And I say it's a 22 with Spanx on. You ladies know what I'm talking about with a 22 with Spanx on. It means you're really not a 22, but you're just squeezing into it. So that was me. And then this is me probably at my lowest weight. And I'm probably about 25 pounds heavier than that right now. But I'm going back. And so I want to talk about that fluctuation. So that fluctuation after my dad passed. Because maybe you can relate. Maybe you were on a roll in 2015 and you did just an amazing job with your weight, and then it happened. What was your it? For me, it was my dad's passing. What was it for you? And I want you to really think about this, because the marketing would suggest that we just didn't want it bad enough in that time and we weren't disciplined. But what I want to offer to you is that life was placing a demand on you where you didn't have the skill set to meet it. That's really what happened. So when life placed the demand on me to cope with grief, I didn't have the skill set. I had never lost a parent. Never. And you're looking at a lady who really, I think every stereotype of a daddy's girl, I'm it. Okay? And so, I mean, I'm very close to my mother too, but for this example of just talking about why I had this fluctuation, and more importantly, I want you to think about your life. And over the course of 2015, if you had fluctuations in your weight, I really want you to dissect that and look at that. Because so often we are conditioned to feel bad about those times when we aren't able to treat our bodies with the ultimate respect. That's the way I like to look at it. That it is the ultimate respect for the temple where the Holy Spirit resides, for us to take care of it, so that then we can have the energy and vitality and mental clarity to really walk into our purpose that God predestined for us. That's really the reason. Shrinking our thighs and having flat abs and having arms like First Lady Michelle Obama, nice, but not the real reason. Not the real reason. So when you look at, again, going back to your fluctuation and using this analogy with me losing my dad suddenly on March 31st. So to numb the pain and also to just not face the reality that I don't have him anymore, I started going back into some very old habits of going to drive-thrus. And we all know that if the meal has a number on it, it's probably not that great, okay? And so why I'm sharing that with you is because I want you to think about those times when you were deviating. Was there a demand being placed on your life that your skill set wasn't capable of rising to? And what was created was a gap. A gap. And in my work with my clients, I call that God's action plan. It's not a bad thing that you have the gap. It's really being clear about identifying what created the gap, and then what specific skills do you need to come up so that your skill set meets the demand that life is putting on you in this current season. And so I hired someone a coach who specializes in emotional, trauma and being able to still take care of yourself. Because this is the thing. I am a firm believer that the quickest way to advance your skill set is to find someone who's already mastered it. I don't just coach this, I live this, I subscribe to this in every area of my life. And so I'm sharing that with you. So I had this gap, losing my dad, and I'm not coping with it in a healthy way. Still working out, but still gaining weight, okay? But it's because of the pain. And I'm sharing that with you because I want you to think about, what demands did life place on you in 2015? Where you started to make choices that didn't support your optimal health. Really think about that. And I don't want you to think about it with an energy of condemnation, but an energy of celebrating and having compassion for yourself. See, this is the thing. You can't hate your way into a better body. When my clients come to me, a lot of times they'll say, oh, Cleedra, I hate my thighs. I hate this weight. I hate that I've gotten over 200 pounds. I can't believe I've let myself go. Coming from that baseline of hatred and disgust, it's an insult to you as a woman. It's an insult. Because if you really look at what's going on with you and what you're trying to manage, you were simply trying to help yourself when you were overeating. You were trying to soothe emotions that in that moment they were so acute and painful that you wanted to escape. And a lot of times the obsession with prepping meals in all the Tupperware containers that you'll see online, a lot of times that's equally as dysfunctional as binging, because it is a distraction from dealing with life. And so I'm offering that to you because the first step, sorry, something's falling off my wall. The first step in choosing, okay, this eyelash is coming off, but I'm just going to take the thing off. Yes, this is live, and there you go. They're driving me crazy. So the first step in choosing, and hopefully you guys can see this, is, let me see. All right. Is what season, let me see, I think I'm doing it the wrong way. Sorry, you guys. Hold on. What season are you currently in? So we'll just go one by one and I'll just come back to me, okay? The season of your life is important. So in my season, at 45, a lot of my friends, and I'm in that boat too, we're losing our parents, or our parents have an illness. Some of my friends, they're going through a transition where they're not needed the same way by their children. I have clients who are struggling with the transition of the season of having devoted and invested so much energy in being a mom. And on one hand, that's been wonderful. On the other hand, it can be incredibly challenging to say, who am I now? I've had clients who are in a season where the children are getting older, and the outcome of those children has been incredibly disappointing. And they look back over the sacrifices and the prayers and the just pleading with God to keep their children safe, and they have made poor decisions. And so they're eating. So your season of life is so important, because if I look at my life a decade ago, 35 or even 2 decades ago at 25, the things that I could do to drop weight are very different. And I'm bringing that up because as you enter 2016, a common mistake that a lot of my clients make is they try to fit a former season into their current season. It's like trying to wear a fur coat in Atlanta in August. You're out of season. And a lot of times you're choosing programs that don't fit your current season. So in my season where the weight of grief is really heavy, I am not doing the preparing every meal. I actually hired someone to do that for me, because there are seasons where you don't have the emotional capacity. It's not that I don't know what I should be eating, but I'm managing a lot more than actually I ever had in my life, ever. And that's the case with a lot of my clients. They're in a season that they don't even recognize themselves, because again, that demand and that skill set, that gap is so incredibly challenging, and it's full of so much uncertainty. Unlike the earlier decades of our life, I don't know how old the people are who are out there, you guys could tell me, but like in your 20s, there were, you had a curriculum. When you go to college, you know how many credit hours you're going to need before you get that degree. When you're planning your wedding, okay, we got to plan this, how many bridesmaids, all of that. The point is there's an established route. But we all get to that season where there isn't an established route. And if you're trying to make choices in that season where there isn't an established route, it will be incredibly damaging to your motivation to drop the weight, because you will feel like there's something wrong with you. And there isn't. There isn't. There's something wrong with the choice you're making for the season that you're in. They're incongruent. They're incongruent. They don't, they just, there's no way they're going to be congruent in this current season. So that's the first thing. I want you to really be prayerful about your season, the demand, and your skill. And it takes humility to admit that you have this gap in your life. So many of us are heavily invested in the appearance of having it all together, but you know, even the word says we all fall short. We all fall short. And if you can own this gap, I mean, take 100% responsibility, because independent of what triggered the gap, in my situation, in this example of my father, I can't blame him for the weight gain. I can't, because ultimately I made the choice. So taking 100% responsibility for your contribution to the gap is just as important as your ability to close the gap. All right? And so that was my first point in choosing the right plan as you go into 2016. You have to take your season into consideration. And like I just said, I've hired someone. And sometimes, you know, that's just the price. It's like people, you know, when I was single and they would say, why do you have someone clean your house? Well, it's not that I don't know how to do it. It's that my priorities have changed. And see, in different seasons, your purpose sets your priorities. Okay? So in this season, I know I'm called to get women to have a different perspective on weight, to get women to stop chopping themselves up into body parts and trying to slim a body part and reach a certain number on a scale, and look up from all of that nonsense to what the real root issue is. That's critical. It's critical. Okay, so the next thing you guys can see is why. Okay, so I mentioned lifestyle engineering, right? Background chemical engineering. So there's something in Six Sigma. Six Sigma is something that they use in project management to streamline the process to improve the efficiency. And like I said at the beginning of this scope, I love to improve the efficiency of people's lives. And so I call this the 5 whys. And it came from Six Sigma. When I got my green belt, I learned about this. And it's asking yourself why 5 times. So a lot of times clients will come to me and they'll say, Cledra, I want to get back to that size that I was in college, or when I first got married, or when I was in that size 8 or that 10. Nice. Okay? I'm not minimizing the desire to look good. That's great. That just can't be the totality of your why. So if that's your first why, you just want to get back to what you remember. Okay, I want you to ask why again. And usually when I ask why again, that's when they start going within a little bit. I want to feel better. I want to have more confidence. I want to be able to go to my closet and shop in my own closet and things look good. Okay. Third why. Why? When I get undressed in front of my husband, I want to feel good about myself. So usually by the third why, I'm just giving you guys some examples, all right? By the third why, they're really thinking. And I want you to think. I want you to write why on a sheet of paper or on your iPad right now 5 times. Usually by the fourth why, it's something deeper. I've heard things like, I want to be there for my children and not suffer from diabetes the way that I saw my mother suffer, and the way I saw my grandmother have her leg amputated or lose her sight. It scares me that I'm going to age and my mind outlive my body. Fifth why. Fifth why. I know there's more for me. And I don't want my life to end and I still have so much regret because I was held back, because I didn't have the confidence or the self-esteem, or I talked myself out of things because of the way I may look on camera or the way I may look in a picture. I don't want my life to be reduced or a smaller size because I'm a larger size. By the fifth why, and I want you to really do this exercise, and I want you to do it in your quiet time. By the fifth why, you'll get to a much deeper reason. And when you have that fifth why, the work that you need to do to walk in the body that you were predestined to have, it will not be something that you need willpower or motivation to do. Let me give you an example of how I know this. So as women, we are usually taking care of the home, taking care of our children. But let me ask you, do you only take care of your children and your home when you feel like it? Do you only clean your home or provide meals for your family when you are excited about it? Do you just go to work when you have read a great motivational quote on Facebook and you are pumped and amped? No. And this is an exercise I walk my clients through to show them just how powerful they are. And I want you to rewind your life. And I want you to look at all that you have made non-negotiable even when it wasn't easy. You have it. I work with women who are single moms who not only were they a single mom, they went to work full time and then went to school at night, and then they come to me and they say, Cleedra, I don't know how to eat the right thing at lunch. That's a lie. That's a lie from the enemy that we have believed. And why have we believed it? Because we are wonderfully made, but we are awfully programmed by this world. There's this subtle programming that you don't know how. Your body is evidence that you don't. Let me show you all these Photoshop models. And let me make you think that you are so far away from the way you should look. And you obviously just don't have what it takes. It's a lie. It's a lie. And I'm not saying we don't need support, but you need the right kind of support. A reason that I am so passionate about this work and not just talking about your weight and reducing you to a goal weight. I want you to have a goal life, the life that God designed for you. And in these over 25 years of me wrestling with my weight, I realized that weight also includes relationships and purpose. It includes all of that. Weight, relationships, and purpose. It includes all three. All three. And so going back to this fifth why, there is a deep reason that you really want it, but this is the thing. There's also a deep reason that you really, on some level, believe you can't have it. Just want to pause for effect with that. There's on some level a reason that you think you can't have it. And it's a lie. Okay, so let me go to the next one. And I mentioned relationships. Let's see if you guys can read that. It says, what has stopped you? What can stop you? It is so critical that you do an analysis on what has stopped you in 2015. What has stopped you? And I want you to think about relationships. That boo of yours. You know, we love our men. Yes, we do. We love our children. We love our parents. We love our friends. We love our neighbors. However, there are days when they work your nerves. It's just the truth. They do. And a lot of times, if you think back to the times when you weren't as loving to your temple, and you overstuffed your temple, Because the reality is, if we have excess weight, that's what we've done. We've overstuffed our temple. We've overstuffed our temple a lot of times because what has stopped us from walking into all that we have been predestined to walk into is a relationship. A relationship. And oftentimes with my clients, it's their voice in the relationship, the absence of it. And what I mean by that is not really saying what you really feel. Think about it. Not saying what you really feel because you are on some level afraid of the impact that it will have ultimately on the relationship. And so because your voice is silent, you eat to speak. That's one example. Another example in relationships is that you have a lot of food buddies. So when I first started my weight loss journey at 246 pounds, when I got serious about it, I've been dieting since I was 11. But when I got really serious about it, I, at that time, had a girlfriend who loved to go to Wild Wing Wednesday. Wild Wing Wednesday. The name of the place, I think, was called Wild Wings. And the bottom line, it was all you could eat wing night on Wednesday. I had a food buddy. And we liked to go, well, she liked to go because I had just gone through a divorce, and she liked to go because she was like, Cledra, that's what all the successful men, they go to Wild Wing Wednesday, and we gotta go. We gotta go. So then I had this dilemma, right? I'm trying to drop weight. At that time, I had no interest in a new relationship. We'll be talking about that later in our How to Choose series. Actually, tomorrow night, I'm talking about how to choose dating online for those who are over 40, starting again. So if that's not you and you have a girlfriend, invite her tomorrow for a Periscope of how to choose to love again after you have been shattered. But anyway, so Wild Wing Wednesday was not going to fit into my new eating plan. And this particular friend, she didn't handle that too well. But I found my voice. And this is the thing that I want to offer to you. You cannot stay in emotional integrity with yourself and try to manage the emotions of others at the same time. You have to give them the respect to manage their emotion. This is posted on my wall. Manage their emotion on their own. And a lot of times as women, we are reluctant to just really stand in what we really feel because it may mean rejection. And in that instance, that's what it meant for me. But this is what I want to offer to you. Any relationship that requires you to lose yourself for it to survive needs to die. That's not healthy. It's not healthy. So I gave you a couple of examples, some things I worked through with my clients. There are lots of others, especially the dynamics with, parenting, the dynamics of aging parents. Hold on, you guys. I had the dynamic of a work environment where you may have a boss, the dynamic of building a business and the things you run into with that. On the third night, I'm going to be talking about how to choose a business coach. But anyway, at the common denominator, relationships, people. Okay, so let's move on. The fourth reason and final for tonight is if you were already there. I want you to think about that. If you were already there in this space of what you consider being there when it comes to your body and your wellness and your health, I want you to describe in detail what a day in your life would be. In detail. That is so important because oftentimes when I'm working with clients, all they can describe is a number. And a number is not a life. A number is not the determining factor of joy. You have to be able to be much more expansive about what this weight loss journey means for you and go beyond the superficial. Remember, it's that light on the dashboard. It's an effect. to something that's going on that you cannot see. And so I want you in detail, as you prepare to choose in 2016 a route to close that gap and to get to your fifth why and to be mindful of your season. I want you to be able to describe in detail a day in your life when you're already there. What are you wearing? What are you doing? How do you feel? Where do you live? How are you sleeping? And what I mean by that is your lingerie, ladies. Yes, I said it. Yes, I said it. Some of us need to upgrade how we look when we get undressed, independent of whether we're sleeping with someone else or not. And I talk about that with my clients. It's important. It's important. I tell them, look, I do not run 9 miles a week, lift 2 days a week, do my stretching to make statements like put your big girl panties on. I have no desire to do that. None. None. Okay? There's nothing wrong with being a Christian woman, a married Christian woman who wants to fully embody her sensuality, femininity, all of that. And even when I was single, there's something to feeling incredible about yourself when you get dressed and when you get undressed. So when you describe this day in your life when you're already there, I want you to be really specific, as if you are a reporter sharing a phenomenal success story of someone who went from December 28, 2015, of watching Periscope of how to choose to lose weight in 2016, to someone who on a specific day in 2016, you are there. You're there. I want to leave you with that vision. So that's all I have for you guys tonight. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you want to continue the conversation, I am so excited about my new closed Facebook community, where the single specific intention is to create a community of women committed to living the life that God has designed for them. I call it Life by God's Divine Design. And you can look that up on Facebook. You do have to apply to enter, because I want to make sure that this community is safe and that the women who come in are committed. It doesn't mean being perfect. Hear me. It's not about perfection. It's about commitment. Remember that example of your children and how the cleanliness of your home? You've already made some commitments that were non-negotiable, independent of the challenges of life. It's just you haven't added weight loss to that list. You know how to make a non-negotiable decision. You've done it. You've done it. I have yet to coach a single client who can't come up with several examples, actually, of doing some really, really hard things under a lot of pressure and stress, but not negotiating values. So I have had a wonderful time tonight. I hope you guys have. Again, we can continue the conversation on Facebook, and I hope to see you tomorrow night. I'm going to be talking about dating online and how I hit reset on my heart to love again after a very painful divorce. So I hope to see you tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have an amazing night. Good night.